俺はウォーズマン。人呼んでファイティングコンピューター。俺のことをロボ超人だと笑わば笑え。確かに俺は
Hey everyone, Jman here again today with another Jman Reviews. I know it's kind of been a long time coming and I appreciate everyone's patience and understanding for the variety of circumstances. Today we're going to be taking a look at Warsman Revoltech Mini number 10 from Kinnikuman. And I'm very excited. This has been a review that's a long time coming. Today we're going to be taking a look at his presentation, his articulation, his accessories, and then we're also going to do some comparisons to the Perfect Origin Suguru, which is the most recent one. We're going to do some comparisons to Terryman as well, since he is kind of like the older SH Figuarts Kinnikuman line, and also the first, half of the releases. And then one of my more recent Revoltechs, kind of full scale, we're going to compare him to Deku. So it's going to be a very exciting video. And obviously today's a twofer. We're going to be reviewing Warsman, and then we're also going to be reviewing Cyborg Ninja Gray Fox. So make sure you guys stick around, like and subscribe for more figures, and more importantly, like and subscribe to join the J family and become part of this family that we're growing. That I really appreciate the consistent support, no matter what we're trying to do, play games or talk about figures or listen to music or whatever we're doing, the J family shows up, and I appreciate you guys. So let's get into meat and potatoes on this. Alright, so I really just wanted to say, and it's kind of why I started from the back of the box already. I love the front of the box for these things, for the Revoltech minis, are usually on the simpler side, right? Because they're just presenting the figure for the most part, okay? And obviously the sides as well. It's a very simplistic design, and they're universal, right? I have Iron Man, different IP, it's the same thing. Literally the same thing. And we're gonna do a review of all these guys. But the point that I'm making is the back of the boxes are really what make these dudes special to me. They're really cool, always highlight the figure itself. You can see with Warsman in the top left. Very clear, view of his sculpt, his posture. You can really see, if I can zoom in a little bit, yeah. You can really see how they highlight, and we're gonna get into it even more when we actually get this guy out of the box, but you can really see how they highlight, his musculature, his shading, and I actually like this Warsman more than the SH Figuarts Warsman just because of how he looks. Like, he just looks way cooler. The Warsman smile in the top middle, like, it's so iconic, so cool. I just really love this design. And everyone does too. Whenever I pop this guy out, he's a hit. Love how, and I guess I'm kind of skipping to the presentation, so I won't do that yet, but I just really love his color scheme. You can also see how they highlight the different faces, as I said. This one is actually from the Perfect Origin arc, right, of when he fought Polar Man. It's actually occurred very recently in the anime, but believe it or not, this figure came out already 10 plus years ago, so they were actually adapting the manga when they dropped this guy, so that's pretty cool. They were way ahead of the game. You can see him doing some special, his Palo special on the Kinnikuman, and his battle damage, well, not his battle damage face, but his true face, his robotic face, aka after he gets hit with the cross bomber, which we did a short on, you should check that out. That's his true face, and that's Robin, and we have Robin as well. Where's he at? Robin's right here. And I did a review of this guy, but honestly, I want to do another review. I want to do a re-review of all of them. But, yeah. Very great stuff. I love this. So, who is Warsman? Let's talk about it while I unbox. So, for the viewer who has never seen Kinnikuman, Warsman is essentially first introduced as an antagonist of one of the main arcs, right? Also, before, I don't mean to interject my lore section, but this is a thought that I had. You notice the size of this Revoltech mini box, right? Not all of them are the same. Like, look how big the snake box is. This dude's, like, dude, bro, it's insane. Oh, let me just put Warsman down, I'm sorry. It's insane. And this is just because he comes with all the weapons and stuff. Well, he also comes with, like, a crazy ton of hands. compared to some of the other Revolt. Well, that's actually a lie. All the Revolt minis come with a lot of hands. Just they come in a little baggy. We'll do a review of Snake eventually. Oh, that was the empty box that fell, don't worry. Not abusing the figs. All right. This is a good look at him in the plastic. Don't worry about, obviously, I already opened and reopened him a bunch of times, but it still looks really cool. But let's get him out while I talk about the lore, because you guys obviously want to see the figure. So back to what I was saying, in terms of who Warsman is in Kinnikuman, he's first introduced as an antagonist during the Trojan Olympics arc, right? After, I don't want to give away too much, but these guys originally fight towards like the beginning of the series, and then he loses. I kind of explained this in the Robin Mask video, so I won't go too in depth. He loses to Kinnikuman. They run it back. He loses a second time, and then he's like, all right, well, this time, I'm not even gonna try to fight you myself. I'm gonna go recruit someone, and then that person that I'm gonna recruit is gonna be an absolute killing machine, or an absolute machine, and then I'm gonna turn them into an absolute killing machine, and then bow, you got Warsman. That's kind of the short version of it. And then eventually, wow, his Warsman smile looks so dang cool, bro. Wow. His other face is here. It's just, if I can turn it. Oh gosh, hold on. When you have big hands like me, you need the tools in order to handle these fellas. Anyways, if I can get the camera to focus on it. There we go. I mean, that should give you context for how small the piece is, right? But yeah, 4K view of the Robo face. I have to say, as someone who owns the other one, let me see if I can bring it out. I had to bring it out for comparison's sake. Here's the Holy Trio. So that is the SH Figure Arts Warsman True Face that comes with Neptune Man, right? And honestly, it's pretty dang well sculpted and well painted. And then the one in the center is the one that comes with the Revoltech Mini, which if you guys both notice, they both have a crucial detail, which is the single eyeball. But in the SH Figure Arts one, in the manga and the anime, that's always kind of what made it look a little comical / bizarre. The fact that he has like this grotesque face, but then he has like this singular, like Osazamu Tezuka eyeball. And then in the Revoltech Mini one, he has the same eyeball, but it's not painted. And then that mask is just the mask that comes with it, so you can like pop it on or off. I did that in the short. But yeah, I just wanted to highlight that very briefly. Yeah, we can leave those accessories to the side. I just want to show that off quickly. But one thing you will also notice is the Warsman color scheme, and this is directly segueing into presentation. Yeah, I had to reset angles because camera wasn't cooperating with me, but you guys got a good view of what's coming, so let's just focus back on Warsman. Anyways, segueing directly into presentation. I wanted to mention this because it kind of came up in my head, and this is an issue that I have with an SH Figure Arts Kinnikuman line. This accessory, if you notice, and I know I'm being a pet peeve, is based off the anime colors, right? Which means has the yellow stripe accent, right? The red eyes, and even though they're both black, the anime one always had like a black, it's supposed to be like a jet black, sometimes smoky gray. The point that I'm making is if you were collecting all the SH Kinnikuman lines, depending on the color of Warsman that you got, it wouldn't be compatible. That's all I'm gonna say. I don't wanna waste too much time yapping about that. We'll talk about that more in the SH Kinnikuman video. But the reason I mention that is because I love this guy's color scheme, which is crazy because the SH Figure Arts one, I probably put a picture of it right here, has an original color edition, which is technically the counterpart of this color scheme by SH Figure Arts. And I don't know, man, I just think he looks ugly. Like, I don't know, it's just a personal thing. Like, I like the other color scheme for SH Figuarts. That Warsman looks cool, but this color scheme in the SH Figuarts form, they need a new one. It doesn't look good. Maybe using the Kinnikuman mold, that'd be cool. But getting back to the presentation, I just really love this guy. He looks great. He looks great. Let's just pop him out. We'll get into accessories later. But yeah, he looks wonderful. Really great. Honestly, glistening muscles even. Really great stuff. Get the, yeah, there we go. Really great stuff. I love just I'm sorry, I'm a little speechless. It's the black. The black looks really cool. If I can get the camera to focus up a bit, there we go. Especially on his shoulders. I really love how the black looks on his armor pieces. Like the boots. You get it better. There we go. Like the boots look really good. The knee straps. It's just all this beautiful jet black that just looks like really sensational. And I have to admit, I know I'm still talking about the black, but the reason I point that out is because the armor standing out so much really serves as a wonderful accent to his musculature, which, oh, that was the thing I was warning you guys about with the trunks. We'll talk about that. But before I get into anything like that, focusing on the presentation just looks really great. I mean, I want to talk about how the brown that is used for his muscles, right, is almost like this caramel, right? Like, yeah, honestly, a caramel brown that's accented by these kind of darker, almost more chocolatey browns. In the center of his chest, you can very see it's heavy on, yep, his obliques. It's really great stuff, and the reason I want to mention it is because a lot of the times when you're posing this guy, and I've seen it happen a lot in my shorts or, you know, in my videos or whatever the case may be, I'm randomly posing him and I'll take a picture of him. And he like suddenly gets, like, I mean, even right there, the way the shadows of his muscles hug real life shadows kind of makes him have this dark, mysterious presence, which is exactly what Warsman should be. Bar to bar, word for word. So it's great. I love it. I even like how his joints, I know it's a weird compliment, are also brown. Right? They could have easily went lazy and just had the joints be black or something. But nope, they're like, nope, we're gonna make sure that the joints match his flesh tone. And I actually think it looks really great. So moving on from his skin tone back to kind of his overall color scheme, I really love how, especially compared to the SH Figuarts one, the paint job on the white is just really superb. Like, look at, even in the camera, man, this white is white. It's shining. Look at that. It's really good stuff. And again, obviously, as intended, when it all comes together, he looks really damn cool. Really cool. So, and then more importantly, this is all, I mean, obviously it's a similar mold to Suguru himself, but just the way that it's painted this time around, I really feel like helps it stand out a little more. As someone who owns Suguru, I feel like his pecs stand out a little more. But that just could just, you know, that could just be a placebo effect, who knows? But yeah, this elbow piece I want to highlight because, as you can see, it does get a little gappy. But I actually appreciate, this is a weird compliment, even though the gap exists, I appreciate that the elbow piece is just one solid molded piece. Because, and I kind of highlighted this in the Robin Mask review, sorry. Sometimes when you have a piece like this that is a wobbly piece or whatever the case may be, it gets loose, it comes off, it just brings more issues. So Warsman's design, he's always meant to have that. It's his elbow pad. So I actually appreciate that we're just like, you know what? We're just gonna make it simpler for you, man. And we're just gonna hold it on. I'm like, thank you. Simple style, heroic action. So moving back to the waistline, this is the only thing I don't like. This is actually a criticism of the figure. I'm not trying to get into cons already because we're still talking about presentation per se, but this belt right here sometimes can be the death of me. And the reason I say that is because, and you can see it already, if you handle this guy, inevitably, you're gonna get some type of wrinkle on his waist belt. And it's not a bad thing, but it's something you gotta be, see how right there, you can already see it, how his lower abdomen kind of hugs the waistband. You gotta be, yep, just because as soon as you get an articulation going, that's like extremely far back, and we'll get into that into the articulation piece, you can see how it kind of causes some stress on the rear waistband. And going forward doesn't really cause that issue, but if you're not mindful of it, yep, you see how I had to like tuck in his abs really quick? If you don't tuck in his abs can literally eat the waist belt. So that is a major criticism, I'm not gonna lie. That is something to be mindful of. But I've seen this guy floating around for very cheap prices, so. But we'll get into that in a little bit. So moving back on to the trunks. Yeah, that waistband is the death of me. You can already see with that little black speckle there, sometimes his black does get onto the white. So another thing to be mindful of, right? Not really, I haven't noticed it happen anywhere else, like not on his fists, not on his elbows, knee pads, nowhere, except the waist belt. And I'm 99% sure it's just because of how the waist belt is painted, and just because the area, obviously this is a high maneuverability zone, so yeah. And you can also, there we go camera, thank you. You can also see it right there. But his trunks are made kind of this, I'm trying to find the right word, certain material where it's definitely, it feels great, it looks great, but when you actually handle it, it wrinkles. And you can see it. And that's part of the reason why these crackles exist, because obviously I've posed him and I've used him. But something to be mindful of. Obviously, it doesn't really bother me, but if it bothers you, you gotta be mindful of that. So moving from the trunk, and moving on to the legs, I really think that, again, his musculature technically is a similar mold to Kinnikuman, but I am almost absolutely sure that these thighs, these pecs are more pronounced. Way more pronounced. Especially, I'm not even trying to sound weird or nothing, I'm just a fan of these characters. Warsman has always been known for having big legs, big thighs, like anything you watch or play the game, he has big legs. So I like that his quads really stand out. I don't know, at least to me. And it really hits when you're doing certain poses, which we're gonna get into shortly with the articulation. So moving on to the knee pads, I really just think, as I mentioned earlier, they look great. The white is whiting, is shining. And what I really love, it's kind of hard to show off because of how white they are actually, but I really love, you can kind of catch it somewhat. You guys see how nice that mold looks, that wrinkle? It's just so beautifully glistening in the light and in the camera that it's kind of hard to catch, but that kind of angle catches it. It looks really good. And if you see this little plastic, don't mind that. So when this guy first came to me, he was plastic everywhere, obviously, including in the boots, and I was able to get it out of all of this boot. With all of this boot, I couldn't. So you're supposed to pop this foot off. I'll show you guys. Yep. And then pop that off, and then pop this off. And technically, and I'll get into this with the accessories, you're supposed to heat it up to then swapped it out, right? However, obviously, I don't want to heat up plastic on that. Like, that's common sense. Okay? So, but I digress. Moving on to kind of his ankle gauntlets, so to speak, or shin guards would be better. Looks really great. Again, solid jet black that kind of has this pearly offset, or pearly finish, sorry. And then, or glossy finish, I should say, let me correct myself. And then the white is what has like that pearly accent to it. And it just looks really great in conjunction with one another. If I can get the camera to just focus up. Really looks great. I really love just how, again, simplistic, but very, very well sculpted and very well painted. And his feet, I mean, I'm not trying to sound funny. It's nothing crazy to comment about, but they look good. And it's just a copy-paste foot from all the other Kinnikuman, but still has a solid paint finish. All right, so articulation. Kind of my favorite part about this guy. And I kind of skipped over it, but his fists, and I'll talk about this later, are interchangeable. But I kind of was saving that for the accessory section, but just wanted to put that out there. So, articulation, let's take it from the top. Really wonderful, like, full 360 neck range of motion. Like, I've done a lot of crazy poses with this guy. You can get him beat up however you want. Very nice. It looks loose, it's not loose, it's actually very sturdy. It's just flexible. It's not really gonna fight you. And I'll get into this when I do reviews of the other Revoltechs, but this guy's like head and neck, you know, I just really appreciate there's no clicky clacky. The other ones have ratchet joints. This is just a smooth ball joint, and it's nice. And then this is its own ball joint. It's kind of hard to get a 360 just because of how his head's sculpted. You can though, but as you can hear, yeah, you heard the plastic. I have to like force it a bit. So I'm not really a fan of forcing things. So yeah, but that's just me personally. So I personally won't probably use that a lot, but shoulders go all the way up, like really up. And I just want to highlight that because obviously, where are some other fellas? Stuff like Robin Mask, and I actually own Robin Mask. Not saying his shoulders don't go up. His shoulders go up, but come on. That was mad seamless. That was like effortless. And that's what I'm trying to highlight. So really good stuff. You get a full 360 here. As you can see, this is, oh, camera. There we go. That's on a ball joint, and then this ball joint is kind of on a hinge right there. And then I'm just trying to highlight that even independent of this ball joint, you can still swivel that arm. Yeah, there you go. You can still swivel that arm. So, really good stuff. I mean, really phenomenal range of motion, to be real with you. And then again, you can get really high with the shoulders. You can get some really dynamic poses going in, especially with Warsman. I just find like, I don't know what it is with this dude, which is crazy. Again, I own the line. Him and Kinnikuman, great. I don't know what they cooked in the kitchen, but they really allowed you to just, yeah, I mean, that's gonna look really cool when we get the claws on, but you can go crazy with this guy when it comes to posing. So yeah, shoulders are phenomenal. His elbow also has a full 360 swivel, which is amazing for hitting whatever kind of pose you want. I know this gappy seems weird, but obviously, depending on how you angle it and depending on how you pose it, it looks just fine. It's just obviously if you're looking from the rear, it's gonna look a little funny. But yeah, really good stuff. Full, again, that full swivel right there. And what's cool about this, and I actually like this about the Kinnikuman line, I mean, all the Revoltech minis do this, but the Kinnikuman's simplistic designs lend themselves easier to it. You can really contort and twist these guys in a lot of different ways to kind of emulate like a wrestling pose, right? So if I wanted to get Terry Man back here and make it seem like he's breaking Warsman's arm, you could do that. You know what I mean? And it looks good. It looks really good. So yeah, and then obviously elbow. Jointed. I mean, it's great. It's great, especially for its size. Phenomenal. Then we have the wrist right here. Wrist has a full swivel, right? Then it has, oh, there we go. Got that full down, not a full back per se, but the all Revoltech minis have this mechanic where you can extend their hands to then get more. Exactly. And that does look really good. And you know what's funny? I can get the camera cooperate. Even despite there being the smallest gap, yo, I'm not even gonna be real here, it still looks mad good. You would really have to be nitpicking. Hold on. You would have to really be nitpicking to say that looked bad. I don't know. That's just a personal thing, but I'm just trying to say I think it looks really good. So yeah, that's kind of covers the arms, upper body. You can really easily get some fighter poses going. Look, I'm not even really forcing the figure. This is very easy manipulation. I like that. And then also, I kind of skipped over this a little bit in the presentation, but his back looks great. I mean, again, I know it's a similar mold to Kinnikuman, but his triceps, not his triceps, sorry. His triceps right here. I was thinking of his tries, but I was trying to say his traps just look hella bulky, bro. It's crazy. And then his rear delts obviously look great because of the shading, but this all back frame. It's great. He looks like a killing machine. So, moving on to the ab articulation. Really good forward crunch. As it should be. You just have to be mindful of that waist belt issue that I keep telling you guys about. Yeah, see, look, he just consumed the waist belt right there. He just consumed it. The way that I get around this is with these fellas. Yeah, because then you could just kind of tuck that out. Boom! No issue. Now you can get full. There, you need these guys. You need a pair of these guys. I'm telling you, you need a pair of them. But yeah, boom, full, like a phenomenal ab crunch, dude. I love this figure. I'm just trying to sell you guys a damage pose. Dude. Come on. You could literally have Deku over here. Smash! Boom, dude. It looks great. This guy is like wonderful. Whether you want him to be like beating people up, posing, getting beat up, Warsman is just a great character. But yeah, great ab crunch forwards. Just got to be mindful of him not eating his waistband, which is why you have the tweezers. And then backwards is also pretty great. It's just he gets gappy. Just got to be mindful of that. He gets a little gappy, but yeah, pretty great. Remember, this, for scale, guys, I know I haven't said this out loud, but this is like a, 3-4 inch figure? So literally half the scale of, and we're going to do comparisons, but half the scale of those taller fellas over there, and yet he's this well sculpted, this well painted, this well articulated, this many accessories. Like, I'm not trying to glaze the figure, but I literally saw, and I made a post of it on the Kinnikuman Reddit. Clearly somebody saw it because they bought him. This guy just sold for $26. I wish I could have got him for $26. I paid like 50 bucks, which is still a great deal, I feel. But that just goes to highlight the value and the quality of this guy, which is why, even though I'm still not 100%, I had to push through the cloudy weather to get a review out for Warsman, because this guy is peak. So moving back to the legs, I mean, you can saw how I manipulated right there. When you bring this leg up, and I wanted to say this because I saw this in another review. He said it was a con. I mean, I guess it is a con. I don't really look at it as a con. I just look at it as you have to be mindful of it. When you lift the legs up, I got it up just fine. You have to be mindful that his thigh, as always, doesn't eat the trunk, right? But you should be good money as long as you're mindful of it, right? Let's just get him. This is the one thing I find annoying is trying to get him back into a neutral pose. Just because I really hate how that gap looks. So then when I try to close the gap, I have to fight with the trunk to not eat the trunk. And it just makes me pop these guys out again. And I gotta admit, that is a little annoying. So like I said, try not to pay. I mean, I got it there without it. But try not to pay an arm and a leg for this guy just because he has some issues. Or I guess you could say some caveats. But yeah, that's the you know, upper leg. Look, he just ate, full consumed it right there. I'm actually glad we got that one on tape. Because that was a good example how I was just trying to highlight his leg real quick and he just went to lunch. Yeah, boom. Okay. And then you get knee. Knee is also on the ball joint, which has its own swivel, which again looks really great for those broken leg poses, but just be mindful because the leg also comes out. But it's not like flimsy, it easily pops back in. Not really an issue. And then ankle articulation is pretty dang good. Full swivel. It's like that Revoltech foot, so like slides out. I kind of took the foot out earlier, but I'll show you guys again. Yeah, see? So this ankle slides into there and then that connects, which leads it to have its own independent swivel, but it's also on a ball joint itself. So it's really good. Can really, yep, easily get stuff like that. Can easily hit poses like that. Can also, the most infamous test, what I always say, the Yujiro split. You can definitely hit the Yujiro split. Just trying to get this ankle to cooperate. That's the only thing about the ankles being on this certain kind of joint. Just got to get familiar with manipulating them. But yeah, easily hits the Yujiro split, no problem. Yeah, I can even drag it out a little more. Yeah, flying colors. Again, what, 3-inch figure? 3.5. I'm trying to remember the specific measurement, but it's around that zone, mini size. And not even some full-scale figures can hit the Yujiro split, so putting that out there for Warsman as a shining, standing ovation. So yeah. That essentially covers the articulation for the most part. Only thing I do want to highlight is he can get, you know, independent rotation up here. Yeah, I wanted to highlight that. You can get an independent rotation up there. So you can get like a looking pose or a turning around pose. Only problem with it, and it's just kind of because of how the backs are molded, it kind of inadvertently creates hunch. So, but it all depends on the kind of person you are, right? If you like old school manga and like a lot of 90s comics or early 2000s comics, then you know stuff like this, the hunch pose or stuff like that, is kind of very iconic to those times. You know, the only reason I say that is because, and I'm just thinking of a lot of older school panels and stuff, a lot of the characters usually are like leaning, hunched, bulked up. So this figure kind of recaptures that energy. And obviously this figure came out when the Revival continuation manga, I mean, it still is coming out weekly, but you know what I'm trying to say. This is what that figure is based off of. So it looks really good. Let's move on to the accessories though. I will gently put you down there. All right, so Warsman comes with a variety of accessories, and I really love all of them, to be real with you, but I'm gonna highlight why I find them a little annoying. All right, I'm just trying to flip that over for you guys. So, comes with his signature bear claws. He has multiple bear claws. So he has the ones on his fists, which technically is no claw mode, right? There we go. Which technically is no claw, right? And then we have the ones here, which is the full extended bear claw. We have these claws, which the broken claw with the single claw is from his fight with Polar Man in the Perfect Origin arc. That's like the signature Kyoto stand. Like, they give you multiple stands, right? But this is like the foot post is what I like to call it, where it's a simple, you just peg it under his foot, call it an end of the day. This peg actually connects to, I'll put you down there really quick. This is why I like the Revolt Minis. The Revolt Minis also come with the classic Revoltech stand. So this is kind of like that V-shape Revoltech stand that you see even the full-scale Revoltechs come with. He comes with that too. And then these are just extra hands. So he has the 2 drama hands and then 2 grab hands, right? Which obviously are for wrestling moves. And then also, luckily to me owning the other Revoltech minis, I do want to start getting crazy with the shorts and giving these Kinnikuman guys like weapons and stuff. That'd be funny. All for characters that it would be appropriate with, like Warsman at least. Anyways, so yeah, signature Revoltech stand. I've shown this off in the Robin mask, in Black Hole and Pentagon 4D Killers, but the other Kinnikuman, for some reason, literally every other character except Kinnikuman himself came with a tag post. Or sorry, a corner post, sorry. I call it a tag post just because I'm thinking of the tag team tournament. The corner post, right? And what I love is this corner post is extremely, I'm going to say this every review, I don't care. This corner post is extremely well done. Like, look at this. I love it. Very, very well done. You can just, even though it's just pure white, it's like a pearly kind of like off-white, kind of like it's a real corner post. I just love it. And then it has the like wrinkles in the cushioning of the post, right? If you've ever, excuse me, if you've ever been in a real ring, I've gotten punched in the face quite a bit boxing, but that's another story for another time. If you've ever been in a real ring, it looks pretty accurate to that. And then obviously the Warsman smile I showed earlier, and then I talked about this earlier, but maybe I didn't really highlight it well enough. Can the camera catch it, or I'm gonna have to pull it out? No, there it is, pretty good. That's kind of like his cracked, like sweating, damaged face. They kind of tried to emulate the sweat with the silver pellets, but it just makes it look more like a cracked, damaged face. It does look really good though. My only problem with the extra faces, and the same thing that I'm about to say applies to Kinnikuman great, is the way you have to swap the face is technically you pull out this face. The reason I don't like the accessories is because you have to heat up his face in order to swap his face. If it was up to me, I'm gonna be real, I would probably keep the Warsman smile on like almost 100% of the time. And I'm probably gonna work on it another time off stream. I just haven't come to, I'm not really comfortable or experienced enough to heat up my figures to swap parts. I will get there eventually, but the point is, that is a big thing you need to be aware of, right? If you wanna swap this guy's face to one of his other faces, you have to be ready to use a couple of methods. I'm not really gonna advertise any because I haven't used them myself, but I've heard of a few methods online to heat up faces or heat up figures and swap them. And I just wanna let you know, when it comes to Warsman, yeah, be ready for that. So, just something to be mindful of. But I still think he's a great figure. Honestly, I really love him. Before we kind of close out, I do want to show off swapping. Even though you have to heat up his face to swap faces, you obviously don't need to do that with the hands, which is important because someone can get over having his Warsman face, but you need the claws. So I'm going to show that really quick. So the way you do this essentially is, you can kind of see it here already, but there is a slight gap in his fist. to his pad, right? You can squeeze it together, but the point that I'm making is you just take the fist off, okay? You can do it with the fist on, but it's easier to do it with the fist off. Take the fist off, you take this off, right? The pad. Put the pad, you know, I like to keep the pad in the box. That's just personal preference. That way it doesn't get lost. If you lose that bad boy, it's gonna be a bad time. Okay. Then you take the claw that corresponds with the hand. I don't think I got the right hand. We'll see. Then you just kind of slap it on. Yeah, I didn't get the right hand. You see how I just popped off? There is a certain claw for each hand, and you can tell by the way my camera cooperates. There we go, finally. You can tell by the slant on the pad. So this is the right fist. Boom. We got the claw. Nice. Then we put this right here. Boom. Only thing, yeah, you already see it. With these bad boys, even though they look really cool, you just gotta be careful, man. I don't know what it is about, just be mindful. Whenever I'm handling this figure and I have his claws on, here we go. Whenever I'm handling this figure and I have his claws on, I like to call it the safe zone. And what I mean by that is, I like to handle him in areas where if, God forbid, his claw popped off, it doesn't get lost forever. Meaning I would never handle this figure outside, or I don't know, in areas in which maybe you have a pet or something, and then your dog or your cat or other animal, whatever, drop the claw and then that claw is food. Or it's a chew toy or whatever, it's done, it's toast. So, there we go. But it looks sick. It looks so, come on guys, that looks sick. And remember I told you about the big thighs? So when you do poses like this, which is my favorite pose, oh yeah. I'm not even doing it dramatic enough, to be real with you. Because I really like to get the elbows between the arms in there, yeah. There we go. Yeah, man. Oh my gosh. Sick. Sick. And I'm not even trying to use a pun, because, you know, I know I'm not feeling the best. But genuinely sick. Like, awesome. Look at this dude. And even though I mentioned the claws, are not the most secure, I mean, they look pretty secure right now, right? It's just how you handle it, that's all. Again, if I was to have the claws on, when I'm doing shoots, and when I do shoots and when I do like the shorts and stuff, do the claws pop off? Absolutely. But what did I say about safe space or safe zone? When it comes to guys like this that have lots of little parts and pieces that you don't want to lose and you're afraid of, you gotta handle them in spaces. Damn, that's cool. Screwdriver! Sick. Sorry guys, I won't drag the review on too long. Don't worry about this leg thing. That's just me, my copy. I just keep popping the leg off by accident. I haven't seen anyone else mention that as an issue, so I also want to get into some comparisons before we kind of wrap up the review. Just for the sake of not losing these bad boys, I'm gonna pop these claws off. So we have our standard Warsman over here, and I kind of want to compare him to Terry Man very fast. So let's put him down. Let's bring out Terry Man. Alright, so Terry Man, just to go over very briefly, he's about a 10-plus-year-old figure. Okay, he came out. He was in the first line of the SH Figuarts Kinnikuman lines, and specifically, kind of like the first wave. The reason I say wave is because even though that had that first line, that line had multiple waves. So he's like an early release. And the reason I want to compare him is because most commonly, a lot of people have the older, not like the entire line, but maybe one or two of the Kinnikuman, if you're a Kinnikuman fan. So how do they compare? So this is kind of a side-by, let me fix Terry's ankle, sorry. This is kind of a side-by-side comparison. Obviously, they scale quite differently, right? Yeah, I mean, he's literally half the size. Okay. However, I just want to highlight that even though Warsman is a smaller fellow, I mean, look at the muscles. I have to say, it's just a preference thing. But Warsman's musculature looks outstanding, right? I know the SH Kinnikuman figures were built more for play and mobility in mind. I know because I own almost the whole line. But it's just something you gotta point out because as I highlighted during the majority of his review, he also has great articulation. So it's kind of just one of those things where in the day and age we live in, both of these dudes are kind of expensive, but this dude is going to be cheaper, as crazy as it sounds. Well, I actually got this guy for $30, but it all depends on the deals that you get. So, you get what I'm saying? The point that I'm making is, in terms of presentation and articulation, I mean, it's not really fair to compare articulation entirely because this is a full-scale, SH Figuarts figure. But at the same time, even though Terry Man, and I love this guy, I'm going to start, today we're going to open up polls for Kinnikuman figures reviews. Because there's so many of these dudes that I'm just going to let the fans decide on the order. We're going to do them all, but I'm going to let you pick the order. Anyways, the point I'm making is, it's not really totally fair to compare a full-scale figure compared to a mini, but it just goes to highlight how great the mini's articulation is when he can do a lot of the same things that Terry can, right? They're not gonna look as pretty, so to speak, right? Because he's a smaller figure, so it's gonna be a little more gappy, but he can still throw down, man. He can still throw down. And that's why I say, like, because I've had a lot of commenters ask me, I've only had one person, I don't want to say disagree, but try to say that they don't look good together. Everyone else is like, yo, these guys look sick. And I agree. Like, even though they're different scales, again, when you put them side by side, I mean, look at the camera. Yeah, you can see the scale difference, but does it really matter, man? They look cool. They look super cool back to back. And that's kind of why, like, the only SH Kinnikuman that I don't have yet, I do plan on buying it, don't worry. But I haven't, like, I don't know, rushed to buy him, is actually Warsman. Crazy, right? Not because I don't like the character, I actually love him. But more so because I just think this one is so damn good. So it's like, I don't really feel like I need another one right now. I really like this one. I'd rather put my money towards new characters. But that's just me. So yeah, that was a quick look at him compared to the old Terry Man. Let's take a look at him compared to the new Subaru. This is the Perfect Origins most recent release SH Figuarts Kinnikuman 2025. And I mean, I've got my issues with this guy, but I still love him. I've got my issues with this guy, but I still love him. He still looks mad cool. Alright. Oops, sorry. Him compared to Warsman. Now, this is a bit of more of a competition in terms of the muscles. But keep in mind, this dude is like 12 years older, 13 years older almost, than this dude. So the fact that these guys can even, well, this guy, sorry, can even compete with this guy, come on, speaks to how great this guy is. But let's take a quick look at the musculature up close. I mean, you can genuinely see it right there, right? They both, I mean, obviously this is more defined, but even for a little fella, man, he's swinging in terms of definition, in terms of color, in terms of shading. It's just really good. So here's a side-by-side comparison. Yeah, the new Kinnikuman like hulks the minis, like hulks them. It's not even, at least the older line was a bit closer in comparison, like with Terry Man. They were a bit closer in size. But the new Kinnikuman, it's, yeah, like, he's like, what's up, little bro? How's it going, little bro? Yeah, it's not even close. But I still think they look great together, right? And the reason I say that is because I know I've done the shorts. And this Kinnikuman, I feel like, lends himself very well to posing with, obviously, surprise, surprise, right? The older dudes. These guys look great together. But that's not what we're here for. These guys look all right together. I mean, the difference is definitely more noticeable. But I still think if you're just a fan of collecting, then there's no harm. But I'm not gonna lie, they don't scale as well together. I would be lying to you if they said they did. He kind of like very overpoweringly towers over them. But the reason I actually like that for this Kinnikuman specifically is because I own a lot of the Kinnikuman, and we really needed a Kinnikuman that was just massive, that was just accurate, especially to the newer art style. So, all right, now let's compare him to Deku. Let me take Deku out of the little stand. All right, I tried to get our little lightning boy in as much of a neutral pose as I could. I have my issues with this figure, but I also really like him. It's what's tough about collecting. You have things you love and you hate about the figures, but that's a different review for a different day. Here he is next to Deku, kind of side by side. I mean, he scales a lot better with a full-scale Revoltech. Like pretty close. Pretty close. Not one-to-one, obviously, but if you were to have been someone who either A, invested into the mini first or into the full scale first, and then were wondering, hey, should I cross dive? You wouldn't be really wrong. I think they look pretty good. I mean, honestly, the thing that throws off the scale the most, obviously, is the heads, right? Because obviously Deku has a way bigger head than Warsman, just because Deku's a full-scale figure. But other than that, in terms of height, I actually think even proportions-wise, I mean, it's probably just because Warsman is beefy and Deku's skinny, but they're actually not even that far off. But obviously Deku's an entirely different mold because of his outfit. But quick comparisons. We'll definitely do a review on Deku eventually. I definitely think he deserves his own review. But regardless, I love this guy. Personally, I think he is one of the best, which is crazy because he has all those issues that I mentioned with, you know, having to heat up the face to swap the face. Robin mask, you don't have that issue. Or the claw thing. The claw thing, you know, sometimes them being a little flimsy in terms of staying on. Look, see, it's already sliding, right? Look, it already came off. But if you can look past those things, I think you can really grab yourself a very cool little fella. Honestly, someone cool enough where even if you don't like Kinnikuman, I mean, just look at the design. You don't think he looks cool? I think he looks cool. And more importantly, for the price, I mean, again, the other day I made that post for the Kinnikuman Reddit. He sold very quickly, I would say like 2 or 3 days later for $26. So if you can find this dude for anywhere between like 25 to, I would even say, depending on how much you want him, $50 with obviously low shipping cost, yeah, he's great. I didn't pay like $100 or nothing crazy for him. No, I mean, mean, some of the other guys on this table, sadly, yeah, but he was not one of them, luckily. And I don't want to say that he's not rare, but I don't know, he seems pretty common from everything that I've looked around online. Not like an extremely hard to find figure or nothing. I will be reviewing each of the Revoltech minis one by one. We're literally gonna go right into Cyborg Ninja Gray Fox, so keep on the lookout for that. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. If I had to give him a final conclusion, I want to say somewhere between like a and an A minus. Right? A and an A minus. Just because I really have a lot of issues with the gappiness around the waist. That really, honestly, now that we're talking about it more, probably closer to an A minus. Just because the gappiness of the waist gets really annoying, especially when you're just trying to pose him. And then it always leads to issues like that with, I call it the hungry waist, where he's always eating his waistband. And then also the hungry thighs, where they're eating the trunk sometimes. These are things to be definitely mindful of if you don't want to cause permanent damage to your Warsman. And then obviously having to heat up his faces to swap it off is very annoying. So these are all, I'm not gonna lie, cons for me. Things that bring the figure down. And also the wobbly claws can be a bit annoying, but it's not the end of the world. I do feel like they're pretty secure. I'm not gonna act like they're insanely loose. I know what insanely loose is. Like, it just would never stay on. No, they stay on, but it's just also requires gentle handling. So other than that, I would say A minus, but still a great addition to your collection, especially for the price point. You can't really complain. It's Warsman. So hope you guys enjoyed the review for this. I'll probably want to try doing a little posing showcase. So maybe I'll be, do a little photos at the end and try to mix it up. Maybe I'll do Warsman and Cyborg Ninja Gray Fox. But I hope you guys enjoyed this review, and make sure you like and subscribe for more Kinnikuman, more Revoltech Mini, and more figures in general. Hope you guys enjoyed.